Let's call the meeting of the Delaware County Regional Wastewater District, June 1st, 2022, to order. Penny, if you'll call roll, please.
Pete.
Bill here.
Ray.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Bill.
Here.
Brenda.
Yes, here.
First item up is minutes of the previous meeting, May 4th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and second. Any corrections or changes? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Claims from April 30, 2022 through May 27, 2022 total $278,262.87. Account balances as of May 27, 2022. Cash operating balance, once again, $420,000. Improvement fund balance, $1,675,027.61. And as required by the State Board of Accounts, the Daleville TIF transfer of $9,411 is coming through for May 2022. I move for approval of the claims in the amount of $278,262.87.
I'll second.
A first and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Old business, Dale Harker Center.
So I have been in contact with the realtor and the attorney. We're working on the easement. We had, what company was that? They came out to look for the,
3D came out to Paul today for the.
we're locating the force main that goes from the lift station and getting a legal description of that. Bill has given us like cursory to start that. We're gonna need the board to pass that we can go forward with that. We're gonna need it to finalize the easement and get all of that wrapped up, because we need access to that. And we can't Jason's looked and he can't find any documentation showing where the force main is.
Long story short, if I understand this right, this wasn't recorded properly back when it was put in. We have an easement problem, so we're now trying to establish, once the force main's there. There's a gentleman that wants to buy 2.5 acres. I think it's a warehouse manufacturer of a chip manufacturer that will have trucks coming in and out of there. We've asked for a copy of the 2.5 acres and an overlay of where the property is, why we're getting to find where the force main is. Once that may negate this whole conversation, it's getting a dedicated path into that lift station where we can operate. The one now that has gone down the easement has a telephone pole and partial of a garage on it, and we can't turn a truck at a 90-degree angle right there to get it in the way they want it. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
And the reason this expense, I think, is to be borne by us is because, one, I don't have an easement already saying that we don't have to do this. We already have an established easement to get in and out of where we need to go. Two, I can't come in and say, well, let's just do a prescriptive easement because we don't have any documentation that tells us the exact day we started using it, so that I can go in and say I qualify under the statute for the prescriptive easement. So I think on this element of it, our hands are tied and we need to front the costs to go ahead and get that located and a legal description done.
So the motion here is to pay the cost, and is there a second one?
For both of those,
Oh,
for
for
the location
And
and
for,
the legal.
yeah. Can we add $30 and get Stephanie a step stool so she can stand behind the podium?
Ooh, I'm not gonna touch that one with a 10-foot pole.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
You guys are true warriors together.
But she has a huge personality on
I,
this.
I just want to be able to see her. She's got to step around so I can see her. I move for approval of the.
Get in
I'm
trouble.
what? Wasn't an insult? Did it sound like an insult? It was not an insult.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Discussion.
No.
Think anyone wants to discuss that?
Anybody wants to discuss? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
At one point, did we pay for gravel on that?
$1,000.
There is gravel back there. I was just there this last weekend looking at it, kind of eyeballing it. There is where it comes off the end of the road, there's a gravel, it's like almost a snake going right to the deal.
I think the one you're talking about, they've worked on in the past, was in a Rorton lift station location. We got that worked out. We played for Blacktop on that as part of
Okay.
that.
I thought it was out there by the trailer park that we paid
Yes,
$1,000.
Yes.
this one, we're talking about the Delville over behind, yeah,
I know where Ray's
behind White
at.
Castle
Yeah,
and stuff.
that gravel was out off
He was just
28.
testing my memory.
Huh.
Right.
Okay, moving on. New business. Jason, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I can do this. We'd be looking for some approval for 3 new PCs in the office. We had Jim quote us downstairs to get 3 new computers for me, Penny, and Davey. When we looked at the date that we last replaced them, it was 2011 and 2014. So IT has highly recommended that we update these and get that taken care of. For 3 of them, it's going to be $2,847, and our plan was to take that out of the remaining money in the equipment line item of the budget that still has $12,395 in there. So,
I don't have any problem, but should we get on a rotational basis where we're buying one a year and just rotating one out every year? So would it make sense to buy one this year, or are we in a position where we really need to buy all 3 this year?
we are in a position, yeah, they haven't been rotated properly over the last 12 years, and so we probably need to do that,
Yeah.
3 of them now going forward,
Well,
yeah.
It'll be Windows what?
go to 11.
Yeah, and IT's gonna do all the transfer,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, what I would recommend then is that we operate with these for a year, and then like
Get on that.
2 years from now, we start rotating so that we get on a regular
And that's what he
rotation.
recommended to us when we had this initial conversation.
So
I mean, how long, I suppose, what, every 5 years?
we run ours between 3 and 4.
What about the guys in the field? Is there anybody, does this guy have one in the truck? Do we have others there that we need to put in the rotation as well?
We have, one of the guys out in the field, maintenance 2 operates with a tablet, then, maintenance 1, Scott has a laptop.
Laptop.
Yep.
And that one should be figured in as well in the rotation of it. And that, like he said, let's go ahead and make the buy if we've got the money, and then put them in rotation so that we're never out. We just pick up one a year,
Okay.
put it in your budget, and just maintain it, keep rolling it.
We'll do that.
What's your expenditure limit?
2,847.
No, what's your expenditure limit?
Oh, $5,000. I just wanted to make sure. When I'd send it out, I'd got some, the board member had some questions about it, so I wanted to bring it forward to you guys.
Okay, I just making sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
did I get a motion there from anybody on that one?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2847 to buy the 3 PCs for the office.
First, did I hear a second?
Yes, sir.
I've got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Directors and officers insurance policy?
This is something that we actually just got on there today, guys, and I really hate doing that to you. It just got thrown in our lap. We've kind of been working through it for the
This is
past
the one, yeah, he's got it attached
2
to
months
the back.
with the Thompson Group, and
Lowers it
we're
by
set
two-
to
yeah,
have a
lowers it by
rollover
$200.
date coming this month.
Oh.
And we actually saw a premium reduction, so it's just short of $200 for the year, but I'd need approval to get that,
And who's this cover?
directors and officers.
That's up here from liability.
What's the liability limit?
$1 million.
$1 million.
So what can I
Third
do
page.
for $1 million that's gonna get covered?
I'd entertain,
I
I didn't,
hope we covered you here just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I see it. Anywho.
Make a motion to
back step.
approve it.
I have them first, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
First and second for approval, is there any discussion?
Ja-
Oh,
Yeah.
Go right ahead,
Jason,
Barry.
did you say a $200 reduction from last year?
Yes.
Or in the amount of the
For-
policies?
For the entire year, just that policy that is for this year,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll be sure that was what it was.
I'd like to throw something out.
Go right ahead, Mike.
I was in the insurance business for a long time, and I'm not telling you what should be done or how it should be done, but I think Thompson Group is into you folks pretty good, and they've earned that. But to continue to earn the privilege to do business with you, they ought to sit down with you once a year, grab those policies, and do what they call a personal or business liability review and review all the coverages with our director once a year.
They do that.
Well, then why is it that we just now get it, or we've been working on it for 2 months and nothing's been
Well,
explained?
COVID.
Pardon
Last
me?
2 years, they
Oh,
haven't come in.
that's bunk.
Well, they haven't come in
Sorry, that's
personally,
bunk. They
but
sit at their computers. That's bunk. That's not got anything to do with COVID. That's got to do with somebody wanting to go to work and roll their sleeves up and do justice to you folks. Plain and simple.
Understood. Anybody else?
We have a motion made and
We had a
seconded.
motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Farm Bureau amendment for the crops.
So this was just put together this morning, which is why you just got it, but it's extremely short and very straightforward. They contacted us and wanted to know if it was okay, since we likely wouldn't even close before they harvest, if they go ahead and plant and harvest it's approximately 1 acre there just to the east of the building. I told them I didn't think that would be an issue and I would throw something together real quick. Stephanie did this morning. So if you guys are okay with that, then just entertain a motion to go ahead and allow them to do that for the 2022 harvest.
I'm making a motion for the harvest of the 1 acre.
And I'll second.
I have a first and second. Any discussion?
Now, it's a normal thing with
Yep.
any real estate sale that the crops go with the owner.
Exactly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion approved. Westbrook, change order.
You want to do the postcards or the change order first, Bill?
Either way you want to do it, sir.
Ashley had got some postcards out from Spotted Monkey pertaining to the Westbrook completion of the Westbrook project. After speaking with Rob, we kind of feel like we're comfortable sending these out now. The majority of all the dirt work has been done, and got those out to the board, those drafts, and the feedback we got was positive. So the plan was, if the board wanted to entertain it, was to get those postcards out to the Westbrook customers that were had dealings with this project and were affected by it. So I think those went out, the last draft went out the 27th of not last month prior to that. So we're just kind of was waiting to get the project done and see if the board wanted to move forward with sending those out, or if it was just going to be something that there was talk about just moving forward with social media. So
We have, Rachel is here from Spotted Monkey. If anybody has any questions, I think, has everybody had a chance to see the Westbrook?
What's the cost on mailing those cards out?
if we just did the Westbrook residents, it was, I'd say probably $500 to $600, if that. We did the entire customer base, and it was right around 1,500.
Yep.
I just don't think it's worth it. I'm good with posting something on social media. Sending something out feels like we're patting ourselves on the back for doing something that we should have done 30 years ago.
Well, and
I think you can use the same graphics on social media and convey the same thing and everything
and
else.
that part's fine. I will say the whole reason we started doing this is to get ahead of the treatment plant image. So I think a lot of this was instigated for PR purposes for the long-term goal, not necessarily what it may appear to some for patting on the back. So I just want to throw that out there because that's.
I appreciate that, and I'm not trying to, I mean, it just,
I'd agree.
yeah, I mean, I just don't know how many, and, you know, being a resident of Westbrook, I'm not hearing from neighbors, you know, that, what they're happy is they're not seeing the flooding anymore, right? I mean,
I would
that's-
at least approve putting it on social media.
I
and doing that part
absolutely,
then.
yeah, I
That's
think
best
doing
part.
social media and using the same graphics and the same information is absolutely worthwhile. I'd even say tag the town of Yorktown and we'll repost it so that we can share that. We like doing those kinds of things. That's not a problem. I mean, I'm
I'd so entertain a motion.
so moved.
I have a first, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a first and a second, and is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Social media. Good?
Rob, you want to talk about the change order, or do you want me to? So. Yeah.
So if the board recalls,
This is the, I'm sorry, Robin, this is for the $5,000 with, Klein Peter.
oh,
The second one is for the Atlas.
all right, well, this is an amendment, sorry. So we retained Klein Peter Consulting as a part of the Westbrook SRF project to do labor standards, certified payrolls, all that stuff. Their original contract was based on a project duration. Project went longer. He's asking for an amendment, $5,000. The amendment plus his original contract is still under what we had budgeted in the overall project budget. My recommendation to the board is to approve it, but I'll be here to answer any questions if you have any.
They won't be back for another one. We'll be able to finish up and get this all done with the 5,000. I'd move to approve the 5K.
Second.
So first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Atlas.
Can we talk about the Atlas change order now? All right, so if the board recalls, at the conclusion of the original contract work with Atlas, we had approximately $175,000 in contingency funds left over. I sat down with Jason and his crew, and we identified some additional rehabilitation work that was needed at both the County Road 600 lift station site as well as the County Road 500 lift station site. We had, as a reminder, we had done work at both lift stations under the original contract. We put new controls in at the 500 lift station, and we put new pumps and controls in and modified the wet well slightly at 600. I'm seeking the board's approval on change order A5, which spends $95,577.90 of the $175,000 contingency available. Items that would be addressed with this change order include a new flow meter at 600, which is really important for us as we work with the town of Yorktown to help dial in the controls on our lift station, but also help them manage the flows going into their system. Rework the concrete and the small building that provides access into the 600 lift station site. Put a new lid on the valve vault hatch at the 500 lift station, and then some additional concrete work, site lighting work at the 600 lift station. We reviewed the pricing with Jason's team and also internally with my electrical and structural folks, and it all seems to be in line. Don't see where we're trying to pull anything over on us. So again, this is just to supplement work we've already done at the two sites, take it a little bit further because we had budget remaining.
We don't have to go back to the finance
We've
or-
already cleared it with SRF
SRF,
and got their
okay.
approval.
Okay.
Yes.
Jason, you good with all of this?
Yeah, yes.
Board have any questions?
That leaves us roughly 80.
Little over 75, 80,000, somewhere in that range. Jason has identified some actual structural rehab work he'd like to do inside the wet well at the 500 lift station. So you're likely going to be seeing me up here again next month,
Yeah.
asking for approval to do that work as well.
Those bids have already been turned over to Rob and SRF as well, and that's all new discharge pipe plus concrete work and re-epoxy of the wet well and the valve pits there, along with new check valves on the discharge and in the valve pit as well. And when we got bids for those, that puts us at an additional $37,800. we'll probably bring it to you next month as well.
Okay.
So, and I think that if everything continues to play out, we'll still have about 37,000 of contingency money.
Jason's doing a good job. He's being judicious in what he does, but everything that's been identified is, you guys are getting the most bang for the buck and really extending the life of these assets.
Excellent.
Make a motion for the change order A, 95,577.
Second.
Have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Westbrook, monthly distributions?
We have 2 this month. The first one being from Commonwealth for $17,928, and the second one being from Klein Peter for $2,375, totaling $20,303 for that. Be looking for approval to get those paid to and submitted to SRF.
So moved.
Second.
Have a first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Jason, reports.
Yeah, for as far as collections this month, we're currently at $1,204.57 delinquent in the entire service area. Last month, this time, we were sitting at $27.81.59, so a little bit better. Then out in the field, we've done some smoke testing over in the Rorton area to try to figure out and address some concerns we had just a little bit east of the Delta High School. We handed out a couple letters to stuff that we had found, and we've already got phone calls back on the majority of those of people that's addressed those concerns. What else do I have? In the office, we've been working with Danielle and Stephanie, and we got our first ARP pay app submitted to the commissioners and auditor for reimbursement of the Rorton Relief Sewer. That was approved by the commissioner's office, and now we're just waiting on a reimbursement of just a little over $105,000 for our first payment on. And I am sure that is all I have. And I can also comment. I think we put it in the information that was sent out for the board packet this week. Jeff didn't have anything to report. Since he's not here, I'll go ahead and let you guys know that as well.
Anything else? I guess it'd be a good time, I mean, just throwing that in there, if you didn't catch the council report on last Tuesday, council approved the Oakville project and the Rorton project, along with their stormwater and infrastructure project. So we're proceeding on those now. That's all starting to move forward. Conversations are taking place. Attorney, I don't know which one wants to go first. I got Struble Hoover.
So last month, you guys approved for us to send a letter to the, it was on Beck Street, a house in Daleville that had like a little under $1,000. We sent the letter out. Apparently, the property owner was a junior, so his dad contacted our office and let us know that we sent the letter to the wrong person, but he graciously gave us his son's address, so we mailed the letter out to his son, and so I'll let you know next month if we hear from him.
Like good family
Graciously.
dynamics.
And I think that's all I had.
Ashley, just to kind of play on what you were talking about with Spotted Monkey, she reached out over this last month and had some questions about the legality of trying to get an email list put together, and if we could reach out to the people who we already have their email and how to proceed with that. So I could have spent hours researching and making sure we were doing exactly what we needed to do, but my recommendation was to save you guys that money of us putting all that time into it just to come to probably the same conclusion. I presented her with a couple of ideas. I thought we should send some sort of a one-time thing to the people we have the emails to say you would like to join our email list or to decline being contacted further via email for those people that have it set up for their payments. That way we have people directly saying, yes, I want to, and then sending out something, giving the information to say to join our mailing list, please contact the office and give your address, your email address. That way people are directly saying they want to be on the email address instead of just taking a shot at starting to send stuff out and upsetting people.
Is it really necessary if we give them a way to unsubscribe?
I know where you're going. That's what kind of what I was sitting there thinking. That's every email you get, you start getting it, and
I
then
mean-
you got to unsubscribe to it.
Right, I mean, if you're
It
gonna
would give them
use
the
Constant
option to do that.
Contact or MailChimp, I mean, you always have to give somebody a chance to
Looking at
unsubscribe.
MailChimp.
Yeah, so I mean, if you use MailChimp, at the bottom of every MailChimp is an unsubscribe.
Yes.
I mean,
That's their way out, is what you're. I mean, that's.
I
that's
guess
the way
that's
it's
For
my
those that
argument.
we have their email, that's what we plan to do. But for those that we don't, we were going to send something to say if you would like to sign up for our mailing list.
so I'm just gonna argue, and I understand why you're saying it. I guess my first contact is those who have the email. I would send them whatever we're sending, and then at the bottom, if they don't want that news, then just
Yes.
they can hit unsubscribe. I would find a way to put on either and or both our social media and our website
Doing
and
that too.
automatic, and then give a third, because the last thing I do is call anybody to tell them I want an email. Once I click through their website, I normally get there, and I just think we don't want to make this cumbersome. I think it's to our advantage if we're just sending
Those
it out there.
first two were all things we discussed doing
Okay.
first. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I just wouldn't. Yeah, I know we're a government, and yeah, I know we can get into some of that, but I'd rather send it out. If they can unsubscribe, they can get out of it, but I just wouldn't waste our time. And I wouldn't make it big, right? I mean, they all make it the same size at the bottom of everybody's
Need a
email.
motion on that?
Yeah, I think so.
How many how many customers have we already got emails on?
I think it was roughly around 1,200.
How many customers we have? 34?
400.
Okay, because I get an email every month saying I've got an invoice out there, and I'm on.
Yeah, that's
auto.
one. That's their own ACH. Yeah.
And
I mean, the other thing to do is.
that drives me crazy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've
You're
got an
looking-
invoice out
I just
there.
go right over the top of it. I'm just used to it now.
Yeah, but
I know.
But on this one, we'll even want to ask them to, hey, does your neighbor know? Send this to your neighbor. We start talking about these things. You want to know why your sewer rate's going up? Then their neighbor's there. Not that Jennifer's here and is going to tell us anything like that, because if she does, we'll throw her out. But anyways, what's that? Oh, you're going to let him do it.
Oh,
Wonderful.
passing the buck.
But I mean, I just think the easier we make it and the more inviting, and they'll do all that. They're masters at making us want to read their emails. So,
Well, then I would ask for approval to send the email out to the people that we've got and then to go ahead and post that on social media and get that part of it going.
yep, so moved.
I have a first. I have a second. I have a first and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried.
Okay, I did get an email from MSD this month, only to say we need to discuss how we're going to split the cost of metering Tanglewood temporarily, to which I took the liberty, but need to make sure you guys are okay with, of saying that's not an option. We will not be sharing any cost for something that you guys voluntarily want to do to make some decision. They went ahead and replied and said, okay, we'll reach out to GRIP and get the ball rolling. Then, of course, I've never heard from them since then. So I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty ridiculous of an ask from them. Bill is gonna have a conversation with Stephen Brand tomorrow morning. He just reached out just in the last couple of days.
3 days ago, and want to know where we were at. I mean, we've sent it back to back. We've all played in here. We know what's going on, and I agreed to a sit down. I mean, we know where we're at. Give me something to bring to this board. Right now, I have nothing to bring to you. I got asked, we were asked about Tanglewood. We did it. The other parts in there, to me, I mean, unless somebody tell me different, was a joke. We've been their customer for years. They know what our flow is. They know what's coming down that deal. This is a drawn-out system. I just want to get to the bottom of it. He's got to give us a reason if he wants us to entertain it, not to build a plan. And that's totally in his court, not ours. That's the conversation I'm willing to have tomorrow, unless somebody wants to direct me in a different direction.
Continue on.
So that was mostly just an update for this month. I did inquire just to make sure I could update everyone on the anti-DEG. Some information was included that was from the Trump administration, and they have requested that be updated to the Biden administration, which I believe Jennifer will maybe comment a little bit more on, but that they plan, Brady said, to submit on Friday. So hopefully that is actually done on Friday. Farm Bureau, I reached out to them. They are happy to meet with our committee. They are going to put together a couple of people, and I will follow up next week if they haven't sent me some available dates. This may be a good time to mention that, Brenda, you've been put on a committee.
I just,
Okay.
If it has to do with real estate, I'm right there.
So they,
No, that and you weren't here, so
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
we need to
oh, yeah,
update
well,
it.
that's why, I see. I would have been there anyway.
they did seem in the email like they thought that was a great idea. So I hope that means that there's quite a bit that they want to downsize and leave that could be beneficial to the district. So I will follow up with the committee once I hear from them, or if I haven't, I'll reach out next week and make sure we get a date going on that. IMI, I sent the red line version and a clean version. So we're not ready for approval today, but I don't see any reason why we aren't ready for approval next month to approve the resolution that's on the table, and then the purchase agreement for IMI. I will send that. Everything is, I think, pretty much worked out. I'm just waiting to hear back on one sentence that I told you guys about. So I tweaked that a little bit when I did things to them. Not much. It still says the exact same thing, just in different words about us not being able to object to anything they do in the future. So I will send that out to the board as soon as I get something back from their attorney. Oh, and Rob needs a motion from the board to share our cost of service study with rural development for the treatment plant. That wasn't included as an exhibit. I don't see any issue with sharing that. So we do need a motion for him to be able to do that.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved.
The last thing I have, nothing to vote on today, but Dick Howe did start moving forward with dealing with the issue we brought to you guys that said we would be coming back to this as soon as they were ready to proceed forward. He didn't get permission from us nor the town of Yorktown to start working on this project, so we are going to do this backwards. I now have the information I need. I'll try to put something together that we can share with the town of Yorktown to be able to hook those houses up to where Yorktown is essentially adding it to our monthly consumption for that neighborhood that Dick is developing. So we'll get working on that now that we've got that information. That's all I have.
I want to slide in there because, I mean, we just talked about MSD. Jennifer, did you want to address the board in any way? I mean, you're not on the agenda, but I know we just talked about MSD. If there's something you wanted to say, Crow wanted to do.
Our report has to do a little bit with together, so, if you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get up there, Craig.
I wasn't kidding. This is
wasn't
the
kidding.
guy, everyone, you know me, Jennifer Wilson with Crow. This is Craig Lotz. He's the guy that's been doing a lot of the reports and making me look really good when I come here and present to you. So I'm actually going to have him do a lot of the discussion today because he is well-versed in all the details of the financial capability assessment that we prepared that's being presented as part of your anti-DEG reports that Commonwealth's putting together. So I'm just going to hand it right over to Craig.
Good afternoon. I think one thing I wanted to clarify on the anti-DAG report, I think Brady's going to be submitting a draft on Friday to distribute around and make sure everyone's comfortable with prior to submitting after that comment. So don't want to speak for him, but that's kind of what
I might have
I think
misread that draft
that
part.
was in his email. You're correct. Yes, give
Okay,
Amy
gotcha.
a chance to, and you a
Gotcha,
chance to
gotcha.
review with the board.
Well, I know this was alluded to earlier, but we updated our financial capability assessment report, which has kind of been a living document with all the different ways that the guidance keeps getting changed. But essentially what this report is it works into the anti-DAG report, and it's based on guidance published by the EPA, trying to normalize and compare costs to residents across all different types of utilities. And so they put together a calculation that you follow and really try to evaluate how the district would compare to other people in terms of the costs that are borne by residents. So we had done a previous rendition of this report and a previous draft based on some draft guidance that was published in 2021. However, there's been some additional draft guidance submitted in 2022 from the Biden administration. That was one thing I know that Commonwealth and back and forth with IDEM, they wanted to see what the district looked like under that new draft guidance. So the report that we've done and have currently submitted around for Commonwealth to start working through and to get comments on, that's based on that 2022 guidance. And really what that is doing is both looking at costs that are borne by residents and then also evaluating the district in terms of the prevalence of poverty within the district and how lowest income households might be affected by district costs. So this report lays out all the different scenarios that are before the district in terms of staying with MSD for treatment, building a plant. IDEM had specifically requested in this update another option of what would it look like if the district were to seek treatment from the town of Eaton for Westbrook and Roriton. So those are all options that we've evaluated within this report, as well as incorporating the updated guidance in terms of how poverty is measured amongst the district. I'm happy to get into any more details. It's pretty census tract driven, and then also some calculations which I can discuss, but that's really the high level of what we've been working on, and Commonwealth now is working that into their wider report too.
But we'll see those numbers in the draft on Friday. It'll come to all of us is what I'm, okay?
Yep.
Okay, well, with that said, I mean, is there any, are we still, with that information you've uncovered from the new criteria, are we still in line with a favorable argument of why we're moving forward on that anti-DAG?
Yeah, I think the new guidance was a little bit less favorable in some respects in how the prevalence of poverty is measured. The prior guidance put a little bit more weight in terms of how costs, actual costs of the district was measured against people, the lowest income households. This updated guidance still factors that in somewhat, but it puts a little bit more weight on some census measurements that don't put the district as favorably at large. Favorably in this context is really demonstrating the presence of low income households, which is favorable in the sense of when it comes to evaluating options from IDEM's perspective and grant funding and the like. And so there's some ways in which this new criteria sort of waters down the effect on specifically those poverty indicators, but there's no change regarding the different options that are on the table as far as connecting to staying connected to Muncie or building a plant, it's still showing that option as the most favorable from a cost perspective.
Building the plant.
Correct. Yeah, there's no changes in that respect from the
But
previous report.
like you said, it's a bunch of engineering. I want to get to the bottom line of it. So this board understood exactly what you're saying at the end of it was, our most feasible way right now is still to build the plant.
Correct.
Is it fair to say that a little bit, but
Yeah, that's a big,
Comes back into our favor.
yeah, that's
Understood.
that's a big part of it, where the guidance forces you to use a weighted average when you're applying the different census data. And so when you look at Royerton and then the town of Yorktown as well, some of their characteristics that they're showing for measurements are really pulling the district up in a way that masks some of those underlying conditions of the other areas.
The board have any questions? Craig, Jennifer, thank you. Appreciate the update.
Yeah.
Okay. That will move on. Rachel, would you like to update for Spotted Monkey?
Hi, I'm Rachel. Thanks for letting me stand in for Ashley today. First things, meetings and communication. We've met with the team and discussed both the communication by email to the residents as well as the Royerton project upcoming. And we also attended the April meeting. We as in Ashley. So we posted on Google Maps 4 times. And we saw great numbers in that. We had 147 actions taken on the Google listing. This created 76 visits to our website, 37 phone calls, and 34 asks for directions. So some keywords that people are using, which I thought that was interesting. DCRWD had 438 hits. Another one I wanted to highlight was Delaware County Wastewater had 182. And interestingly enough, we had some for Daleville Sewer, Delaware County, Indiana, which is interesting that we're hitting out in the Daleville area as well. For graphic design, we had the Royerton postcard drafted, and that I heard we got the map updated, and that should have been sent out to you.
Yes.
Or will be. And that's just going to be announcing the Royerton project is upcoming, and that will be also on social media as well. For Facebook, we continued to post several different types of graphics on Facebook. This included the Westbrook project detailing that, thanking the Westbrook clients for the patience that they had, and also announcing the board meeting, as well as some different tips on how to care for your plumbing and sewer system. We created a YouTube channel for the DCRWD, and we had that able to do videos longer than 15 minutes. We have posted both the April and May board meetings on that. That also included a branded banner image, our logo, and then a description of the channel. So that has also been linked to the website so that people can view those videos on the website as well in 2 different places. As for YouTube views, the April board meeting had 11 views and the May board meeting had 10 views. And I wanted to kind of jump a little bit to some ideas for short video content. We see a lot of engagement in the short video content now more than ever. And so some ideas that we had for this would be a short video explaining the Westbrook project in detail, what the problem was, what we solved. This would be in the 30-second to 2-minute time frame. And then another short video on the upcoming Royerton project, again, what the problem is and explaining what the solution would be in kind of a broken down way that the client can understand. That would be 30 seconds to 2 minutes as well. And then a short explanation on the Oakville project following the same guidelines. Another idea was a video inviting the public to the board meetings. And this would be the when, the where, open to discussion and that kind of thing, as well as I have some content we can use for that, like pictures. And then another short explanation of who and what DCRWD is, kind of going over those core values that you guys have. So that's the short content that we would like to propose. Those would be more of a casual video on a phone or something like that. And then the last thing we had was previously mentioned, reviewing email marketing solutions. We heard that MailChimp is kind of the forerunner of those options because they do have some lower cost and some free options. That's all I have.
Something I'd just like to reiterate, we talked a little bit about this at lunch. The marketing as far as the videos, whether to look at a firm or to do them Facebook, off of the phone. My suggestion was there off of the phone. I mean, this whole deal with us has been that we keep our costs down to our constituents, keep all that there. We are not the mega, like MSD, and I don't want to look at some of them like, we're wasting their dollars. We're trying to be fruitful. I mean, I think we've done a good job as a board. I think our message can get out on Facebook just as easy as it can with hiring another firm. I think we can do them in-house and with Spotted Monkey and doing them that way. But I think it'll show that we are watching out after the dollars that we are bringing in, what we are doing with them. Just my 2 cents. Do we need a motion or anything in there? I mean, we've already hired, and I know we've done the deal. I think I should see it, and Jason's done, so I don't think there's anything there.
I think we've covered it by prior motions and hiring them to do their.
Rachel, I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing there's no committee reports, Jeff Turner report, at least Commonwealth.
Brenda, you're on a committee.
She's been told.
What?
That's a committee report. Brenda, you're now on a committee.
Well, that'll be the next one, considering the
I
other.
heard that.
Yeah.
That'll teach me.
Don't miss again, right?
Go ahead, Rob.
I sent Jason and Penny a report last week. I think it got included in your packets. The action items that I had identified, you guys have already acted on. And I think between Jennifer and her team and Jason, we've kind of touched on everything. Does anybody have any specific project-related questions for me?
See none, sir.
Try to be brief.
Brief.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we came to the end before I open to public. Does this board have, anybody on this board have any business today? Seeing none, anybody in public have comment or anything? Yes, Rachel.
I will say, we just moved to the Raritan area, and I did receive the, oh, sorry. So I received the Raritan postcard, which I did think it was actually nice, not that I designed it or anything, but, and I did hear from someone else in the neighborhood that received it, and unprompted by me saying anything, they did have a discussion about it. So I do think, regardless of what you choose to do, I think that, yes, cost-effective is social media, but it did generate some, in my limited experience, did generate some talk. And so I do think that there is some merit to having that in the hands just because you're seeing your faces and your brand more than Facebook has a smaller window at this time, so.
I think it's something that going on that we could use sporadically at different things in different events. I think it's not something that every event that we have, every project that we have has to have an update or a monthly postcard go out or every other.
Yeah.
But if we were to do something on a quarterly or an annual basis or drop it in on a special occasion, I think it's well worth its time. I agree. In Delville, when we got the first one, there were some comments. No one had seen it before. It was just different. So if it was just different every so often, it will be paid more attention to, I think, than done on a regular basis.
Yeah, I would concur, and my comments were not that it's, my comments, take them as they were. I don't know that we needed to take a victory lap for getting a project that should have been done. There's a proper
Few years
time
ago.
and place for it. But I appreciate your comments.
Any others? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yeah.
I have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are
See if I
adjourned.
could find that thing.